We're going to do 4 piles today, and we're going to be clearing some layers. I am a diagnostics provider, and I also clear things, and I help you clear things yourself. I hope the sound is okay on here. Usually I hear like a tiny little echo that for some reason I'm not hearing right now. How's everyone doing in the midst of this dystopian insanity? All right, so we're going to make 4 piles. To represent you. And you're going to choose which one you feel most connected to, right? Should we do those 4? I need one more red. All right, I got 4 piles. So today we're going to be talking about, on my channel, I like to discuss things that no one else is discussing, and no one else is discussing the fatherless. There's this epidemic of fatherless individuals, and it's like, how can we expect society to be in order when there is no father figure? There's no father figure. In the majority of households, there is no father figure. And then that individual has a child, and that child, if that child is a male, is expected to take on this masculine male role when they've never been shown an example. The feminine not knowing how to protect themselves other than dating toxic individuals, mommy daddy issues, things like that. So let's start with the piles. Pile 1 is going to be this troublemaker over here. Pile 2, pile 3, pile 4. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, okay? If you're a male and you're attracted to this rebel, choose the rebel. If you're a male and you're attracted to this feminine with diamonds, choose it. If you're a female and you're attracted to the king with the lucky clover, if you're a female and you're attracted to this young man with diamonds, choose it. Choose whatever pile you feel connected to in regards to your traumas, connected to not having a father figure in your household. Or if you did have a father, that father was a drunkard, a drug addict, made you feel abandoned, neglected, not wanted. Shall we begin? I'm a little nervous because I can feel the suppressive thoughts, the suppressive emotions. Let's begin with pile one. If you chose this rebel, this pile hates the world. You hate the world. You're very hateful. You're very judgy. You're very critical. You're very spiteful. And we're going to clear that, okay? With your permission, we're going to clear all that because none of it is yours. It's like a sketch. It's like a complete sketch of a complete individual and all of their personalities and all of their characteristics, and none of it is yours. So we're going to find a weak spot and we are tapping to see where it breaks because all blockages are made of different materials and come from different root systems. And this one here is learned through adapting a survival mechanism, even like living in toxic environments. Okay, so we're gonna have to burn this one. This one doesn't want to be cleared in other usual ways. So we're just gonna set it on fire. And you're gonna feel a little shock. And you're gonna smell burning binder paper. And how fast and thin the paper is because it was a lie all along. A lie that you believed that you're this harsh, dark spirited person when you're actually not at all. Your anger, your rage actually represents how loving and affectionate you are, and just not having the ability to express it. So every pile needs a different amount of time. Some people, when you spend too much time on them, it makes things complicated and the healing does not sustain. Others, when you do it quick, it sustains. You're one of those piles that has to be done quickly. Your homework is to do that with negative characteristics that you find from now on forward. Next time that you feel like there's a personality trait, a characteristics that is not yours, that was learned from not having that masculine role model, set it on fire and say it is not yours. And the paper is so thin that the ashes, there's no ashes because the paper was so thin, it just blows in the wind. You're going to feel very nude and exposed and vulnerable. You can cover yourself up with a mantle. And from now on, you will figure out who you truly are because you are not that mean, dark spirited person that the liars, the lying entities convinced you that you were, but you are not in true essence. Okay, pile two. Pile two is very interesting because these are just collective readings. They're not going to resonate with everyone. But pile two, I feel like you do have the people there's people here in this pile that do have a father and they just try to make everything up with money. And that causes a lot of pain in your emotions that they just try to give you gifts. Like, here's gifts. gifts, gifts, gifts to make up for the fact that I was never there for you. That kind of energy where the finances didn't cover the fact that they weren't emotionally supportive or even communicated with you at all. So, from you, we're going to clear this sadness. There's this sadness that has you kind of like on this permanent sadness, feelings of lack because you didn't have that father figure as you wanted. And we're just going to cut those strings because those strings were forcing a sad facial expression, and that also comes from entities pulling that all out, smoothing out the wrinkles by your face, by your eyes, excuse me, and filling that with an affirmation that you are enough. You are enough. You are enough. Okay. The feelings of unworthiness that you had are enough was a made up lie of self destruction. And you just call yourself out on it and disable the lie and put yourself in this shield that refuses to accept any lies, including the ones that you tell yourself, because for some reason those are the ones you believe. You don't believe everybody else's lies because you didn't have a father figure, but somehow you believe the lies you tell yourself and you dismantle those and you put yourself in this sphere of truth. Nothing but truth can penetrate this shield. It's very subtle, and you may not feel the change right away, but as you go on through your days, you will start seeing a pattern of sadness try to come back, and you snip it and you say, no, I remember that pattern. You tried to fool me 3 days ago, and snip it, and it will release the tension by your eyes. So every time a sad thought tries to come in, that's from the father not being there and is a made up lie. Do you understand? That's all that I have for pile two. It's best to keep things simple because if we make it so complicated, then it's hard for you to grasp any healing. Let's move on to pile three. Pile three has got therapy, wisdom, learning, studying, researching the psychological effects of that parent not being there. And you've resorted to settling with what you got. You're like, okay, life handed me this life. This is what life handed me. I'm going to resort to settling. And you were never made to do that. You were never made to resort to settle. You were never made to survive. You were made to live and experience joy. And you've been punishing yourself your entire life thinking that you don't deserve happiness just because that father figure isn't there. This one's a little tricky. It's going to be a little tricky to clear because it's a core belief. And we're just going to imagine that core belief being like a tree branch in your heart that needs to be removed, a negative tree branch. There's undeserving. You feel undeserving of any kind of happiness, so you have accepted misery as your best friend. You go on your days, you live your 40-hour full-time job, you smile at people, but inside you have a branch, and we're going to remove that. So we have to find the trigger. When does that trigger come? When do you feel the trigger of, I don't deserve to be happy? Do you see how heavy that is and how it even slouches down your shoulders, where it even affects your body posture? So there's no trigger exposing itself. So that tells me that you feel this all the time and you don't know how to feel anything else. So you're going to have to tell affirmations to yourself. Just, okay, this is just an example. Just because my father didn't love me properly doesn't mean that I'm not lovable. Just because my father didn't love me properly does not mean that I'm not lovable. I am extremely lovable and worthy. And tell that to yourself until you believe it, even until you get a little angry. If you feel a little anger and a little blame, that's actually good because that means that you're working on removing it and remembering and recalling that it didn't come from you. So then it starts to loosen, and I want you to realize that it's an attack that comes through family. The family is the first people we get attacked by when we're born. We're attacked by our own family members' energy immediately. And then at the same time, they don't know how to protect us. They don't know how to smudge. They don't know how to pray. They don't know how to practice spiritual hygiene. So it's always the children that suffer in those kind of households. Okay. So we're pushing it now. You can help me push it out. Help me push out the branch that was in your heart. You see a big, nasty hole, a big imprint, and you continue pushing this branch. For some, it's a branch. For some, it's like a stump. For some, it's like a log. For some, it's a stump that has hay at the other end to try to cover it up. And it's even growing another stump on the side. Okay, so just push it, push it, push it. Keep on pushing it out. Keep on pushing it out. It's still trying to pull you back in. Keep pushing it out. It's even trying to make you forget. It's even trying to make you forget what you're doing. You're pushing it out. It represents thinking you're not lovable. So let's go ahead and set that log on fire. The branch, this wood, it's wood. Let's set it on fire. It's so dry, it should burn easily. And just picture a fireplace in front of you. And it takes hours for that fireplace to burn. And just imagine this fireplace burning in front of you and thinking, what are all the things with the notebook? What are all the things that I can do to represent how lovable I am, how worthy I am of love, and that the fact that my father didn't love me properly means jack. Absolutely jack. People give way too much credit to parents for bringing children into this world. Just because someone brings children into this world does not make them a good person. Animals bring animals into this world. That doesn't mean that animal's not going to attack you, or that doesn't mean that animal is a good animal. It's like every spirit, every soul is its own person, it's its own soul. And some are dark and some are light. Okay. So as this fire burns, you're tempted. You're tempted to go back and think about all the reasons why you're unworthy, right? And you can electrocute those lies as soon as they come up. Like, oh, uh, you just kind of zap them. Use like the zapping device. Nope, I'm not accepting those. Unworthiness is zapped. We zap the unworthiness. Anything that is trying to be on the unworthy side is zapped. We zap it. We zap it. We zap it. We zap it. And the more that you are attacked by unworthiness, the more you can transmute it into a compliment. Things don't attack untalented things. Things attack talented things. So for every attack, it's like a compliment. You're so special. You're so loving. You're so worthy of love that you're constantly attacked by these lies, because these lies don't want you to know how lovable and worthy you actually are. And then you start hearing those lies silence and spark, fizzle out to the point where you don't believe them anymore. And you see this fireplace in front of you and you start feeling empowered and you smile and you start realizing that you don't even need a person to make you feel complete. You don't even need a person to make you happy. If it comes, it comes, and that would be amazing. But it's not expected or required anymore, because you are lovable, you are worthy of love. Okay, so let's move on to pile 4. For those of you who chose this one here, for this one, for pile 4, you have a lot of anger. It's mostly anger where you might be very critical of people or mean to people, maybe even some of you bullying others because of your sadness. It's your sadness you express as bitterness. It's like you feel sad about how your father wasn't there for you like you needed them to. So your response to life is bitter. And that is theft. That is theft. You are allowing the fact that your father wasn't there for you to be an excuse to be robbed of living life to the fullest. And we're going to clear that. This one, you're going to have to realize that the person who's missing in your life, they didn't live life to the fullest. Just because you party and binge does not mean that you lived life to the fullest, okay? It does not. That's, for some reason, people think that binging is a success, that champagne is success. No, it is not. It's sad if you think that's success. Whoever was missing from your life, they did not live life to the fullest in the proper way. So Why should you be robbed of it? Why should you be robbed of the fact that your father was limited in mindset? Think about that. Think about the person who wasn't there. They did not live life to the fullest. They had a limited mindset. You're going to let them inject that into you? No, you need to push away that curse and void it. We void the curse in the family. We reject the curse in the family and walk the walk and talk the talk by not doing what everybody else does. So you choose to live life to the fullest without a limited mindset. By you being careless about the fact that they weren't there is how you will succeed. You have to not care. You have to not care that your father wasn't there. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. You have to not care. And maybe you care too much. You care and you compare yourself to other people who do have a supportive father in their life. And you simply have to not care and not rip yourself off. You are ripping yourself off, scamming and gypping yourself by acting the way that your father did. You know what I mean? It's like, what better way than to be nothing like your father? And by you limiting yourself in any way, whether that's emotionally, physically, or financially, you're just representing him. So let's not represent your father, for starters, because they do not represent you. They don't represent who you are. They don't represent your roots. It's like just because someone is related to us doesn't mean that they're related to our roots. Just because someone is related to us does not mean that they are connected to our roots. Everybody becomes their own universe and they have their own roots, whatever those roots represent. Some people don't walk the walk, some people don't talk the talk. They want to be about this and they want to be about that. And their personal life and their real life completely contradicts all of that. So there was something else that I wanted to say because I'm trying to figure out if there's anything that I can clear for pile 4. Okay, self esteem. So your self esteem can sometimes be quite low because of that missing parent. And that self esteem is like this, it runs through, it's like this string, a block that goes through your chest. I'm sorry, that blocks your chest and blocks your heart, soul house from getting into deep relationships, from getting into deep friendships, from getting into deep conversations, from being intimate in your social life. Okay, we're going to take these scissors and just snip right through the middle. You take a deep breath. You see how you were holding yourself back. It's like trauma uses these excuses to hold ourselves back. And that's why there are these layers that we have to cut all the time. We're not going to get it all done in one day, but we have to cut those layers that bind us to limits and restrictions that are not even there. So now you're loose. You're loose to modify your identity and to modify your wardrobe, and you do not need their validation. It makes no sense to need validation from someone that functions at a lower vibration. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, I hope this helped. Bye.